sometimes they just come out of thin air and like it's just appealing and they can weave the narrative together. Toy Story, kids, going to space, that whole like connection there.
Have you
I
seen
don't
the
know, but at
meme,
large,
the Buzz
oh, go
Life for
ahead.
Ear meme? Buzz, have you seen it?
Buzz Lightyear? What?
Here, I'll post it. It says Buzz Lightyear, and then it says Buzz Life for years. Buzz Life for years. Yeah, see, even that picture of him, he looks much more together back then. It's just hard to think that he's in some high-level secret society, I guess, in a way. Some of these guys. But who knows? Maybe there's just different levels of it. Like, if they have, like, their family line as well, like, if he's part of the family line, it would make sense that they would let those guys do, any job where you're going to be kind of, like, famous. They might give it to those guys. The ones that are in the actual family, so there's that factor, too. But, I mean, this is just a big lie. It's just more than being, like, hired to be... Well, I guess like the CIA, like we were saying before, if you're going to be hired to be an agent for that and you have to go undercover and stuff,
Well, it just seems more reasonable to me that if you can convince parents that telling your child that Santa Claus is real as an aspect of like having a bit of fun, or just sort of creating mysticism around this holiday and sort of entertaining children or something, you're just play acting along with what you're being told to by the broadcaster, and the stories that come down. I mean, it just makes a lot of sense that like you could do that like in small contingents, and they're just like, I mean, it's all just sectioned off. It's so easy to convince other people to do something.
Don't you think that they probably are pretty clever about the way that they operate with this all by now, and they have like a way of having people participate in it for the greater good? Like the thing I say about the outer ponders is the perfect front for this whole thing. Like if they're convinced that the truth of us being on a flat Earth and having like a treaty with the outer ponders or some kind of threat, or we can't go, beyond a certain perimeter, so it was better to give the people this whatever, and that they inherited the whole space idea. And if they told the people the truth, it would like, destroy society, and people would sue the colleges for. I mean, it's already too late, so we have to do it. But the way we're going to do it, don't worry, it's not going to be very believable. I mean, if we're going to give people something to believe in, if they want to believe it, but we're not going to make it so believable that we feel like we're criminal about it, because we're giving the thinking man out with how hokey it is and what bad footage we give him, and it's just an act. And we're going to make sure that anyone that can see through the act can see through it if they want to. But if they want to buy into it, they can also do that. It's the perfect balance to keep like society as a whole just believing in this for the better of the whole, if they want to believe it. But we're not going to do it so like, amazingly perfect that we feel like deceptive, because we're not that, we're doing it poorly on purpose for that reason. That would make a lot of sense.
But it's not like believing it is any good though. So
Well, it makes it so that people don't feel like a rat in a cage. They're not trapped. They can have a whole psychological reason that they keep
but
it going for
that's
that.
exactly
Like
what. But
maybe they're convinced the truth
that's
is
what you
so
end up
awful
feeling like
compared to
when
what
believing it.
the little
But you end up
space
feeling like
idea
that,
is.
if you believe in it.
I don't know what you're asking. Sorry, what are you asking? Anyway,
He's
my point,
saying that,
Theo.
I think he
If I
was
may.
saying that if you believe in it, you'll feel trapped. Ironically, is what he's saying, that if you believe in the globe thing, you feel trapped rather than. I think that's what he was saying. Like you're trapped on a ball.
Oh, he's saying that to me.
Yeah.
You feel more trapped with a ball.
I think, yeah, that's what he's saying.
Can I respond to your new perspective?
Yeah, sure.
So what it will require, from my interpretation of what your like thesis that you're putting forward, is you'd need to have a hard line cutoff of the who's in the know and who's out of the know. And my presumption at the moment is that there's a tapestry going on. There's like the who knows what and different sort of factions and style. And your premise seems to put forward that like you've got people that are all in the know and then people that are all out of the know.
Well, yeah,
The
if
out of
you're
ponder
going
stuff.
to be one of those astronauts that's supposedly on Artemis, you have to know that it's
About
not
the
real.
outer
You
ponders?
have to be. No,
Well,
they
Yeah,
could
but
they could
like,
use that. I'm just saying they might have a story that they convince these people of that makes them feel like they're doing the right thing to keep the lie
that's
going or whatever you want to call it, the
that's what I
illusion
put
going.
forward.
But the
That's what I
illusion they're
put forward in your pitch.
participating in. What's
Yeah,
that?
the
The
proposition
illusion
being
they're
put forward,
participating. Yeah.
yeah, is that essentially that they do have real space missions, and these guys are like a proxy for the public, essentially. That real space, like they're under the presumption, these like astronauts, so called, under the presumption that there are real space like expeditions that are occurring, but they can't be televised, right? For some reason, like in case something goes wrong, some sort of information gets leaked out. They're under the presumption that they're actually the front man for a proposition, like just the is like the pure public awareness that these activities are going on. Thus, they've been trained into the like doing what they're doing.
That's another way. Yeah, that could be another way of convincing them, like the like secret space program that a lot of people that are looking into this stuff sometimes get caught up in, like, oh, they just can't show us the real shit because it's too advanced, and we've actually got civilizations on Mars already, that kind of stuff. But it's much easier just to tell the truth, or to a certain extent. I mean, maybe the outer ponders do exist and they have their version of the outer ponders that they say is, I mean, maybe that goes levels and levels and levels high where no one really knows who the outer ponders are or if they're outer ponders, but the word comes on high that there are people we're trading with and that's what's going on. And that can't be known by the public for national security. It just comes down to national security, and you sign the NDA agreement and you go along with it because they could claim they don't know what the dangers are, but it's better that they tell people that they're secure, just like your girlfriend that you're like,
Well, yeah,
don't
like
worry, you make up a story to keep her, keep from being scared, or the kids or whatever,
we're
some kind of thing.
we're talking about the people, a group of people that are the most over psychologically analyzed group of people when they go into these like contingents or aspects of the government, right? They are highly
Who,
psychologically
astronauts?
any one of these like high level like security, intelligence, astronauts, any of these in like high level endeavors, anything that's considered to be discreet to the public is like basically psychological analysis zone 101. And they would go through so many of these sort of exams, I would imagine, right? They
Well,
get
then they would
psychologically
handpick the ones that could handle the
profiled,
role,
trained, back
right?
and forward. Yeah.
Yeah, they would handpick the ones that think, oh, okay, they'll get it. If we tie, once you're handpicked, then you're like, sign the NDA agreement. Here's the truth, quote unquote. We're on a flat Earth, and we have to keep this thing going about space because
They don't even need to
society, as
know
we
about
know
flat
it, would
Earth.
break down if people knew we were on a flat Earth. So we can't tell them that, and they might
They don't need to
understand
know
under
about
some
flat Earth,
sort of
bud.
circumstances. I'm not saying in particular it has to be a certain way. I'm just saying that these people seem like good people because they probably are good people that are, maybe even thought they were going to be astronauts, and then, they are told the truth so that, the society as a whole could stay. They have to
Oh
think
yeah,
they're doing it
you
for the
know,
greater
actually,
good.
you've been selected for a far more important role. We require you
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
public sort of front man. Like, you are
Right.
entertained into this proposition. Like
For
you
the good
are
of
like,
society. And in a
they,
way, they're right. It's true. I mean, if everyone knew the earth was flat, then society kind of would break down as we know it. And it's not hard to convince someone that would happen if that were the case. So they may think they're doing it for like, even like this, the psyops, like the shooting psyops or some of these other things that we've seen. I think that those people that are participating, or at least some of them that are participating in that, are probably sold on the idea that, well, yeah, this is going to be a fake shooting, but if we put this out there as a fake shooting first, we're going to prevent shootings in the future because the security is going to be better because of the fake shooting. So if we don't do the fake shooting, we won't get the budget for the security and the security cams and all the things that are going to prevent future shootings,
precisely.
future real shootings. So you're doing a good thing
Yeah,
for society because you're preventing real shootings by doing a fake shooting. That's probably how they convince those people.
that's how I imagine it all goes down at large.
Yeah, it makes sense to do it that way. Whether it's, I mean, to some degree, it has to be true because the security's better, so they probably would prevent any possible real shootings. But it also serves to have like
Is it? Is it?
a
It's the Bay
total
of Pigs. Isn't
surveyor
it the whole
state.
Bay of Pigs conspiracy at large? Like they were saying that like we need to pretend to do an attack on Florida or something.
There you go. Yeah,
Um,
we've heard that story before directly with some of these things. Yeah, that was the Operation Northwoods too. Was supposed to be that plane that they went down, and that was supposedly going to be a real plane on people or whatever. But the whole idea was to get the public's opinion on something, or for the greater good. As long as you can sell them on the story that they're really good people trying to do good for the whole, you can sell people on anything. Going to war, whatever it is.
I mean, I think they just have a fake empire going, and the people that are in on it all want to be in on it because they're making tons of money. So they're just like in that vibe, just criminal level. I mean, not only the money, but they basically are above the law. Like they can get out of probably any legal thing because they have that much control. And they basically have infinite money. They might also have access to other lands or other resources that are huge. And yeah, just like any other criminal organization, like I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, those astronauts are getting paid. I'm sure they're getting paid nicely too. I mean, that's part of the perk.
I
But
mean, the
wouldn't it
bottom
be better to
yeah,
convince them that they're like not? I mean, they don't seem like evil people. I was trying to come up with a reason that they don't
I
seem like
to me, they
the
seem
kind of
like
people that you might expect that they're going along with the deception. And the way they do it also, I thought was a good point, because the way they do it's not so believable that it feels criminal. It almost feels like they're doing a show for kids, so they're giving the people the option to believe it or not. Like they get out of it psychologically that way. Like, oh, this is so bad, we don't feel bad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you believe this, then you just want to believe it. You know what I'm saying? That's how bad it is. Psychologically, they get out of it that way. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you on that theory, yeah, that like karmically they
Because
think
they could do a lot better job easily, and they don't.
yeah, but I think they might choose
Well,
to do it this way because of that, like when it looks a little funky, they trick people more that it's real because it looks like if it looked too perfect, they would actually be more skeptical. Whereas if it looks kind of funky, they'd be like, oh, well, yeah, it looks quirky because it's actually real. It's not a movie, and that's why it looks quirky. It's kind of this little reverse psychology.
yeah, but they're still playing to the lowest common denominator. Like people like us, they don't expect are going to just buy it hook, line, and sinker because we're critically minded, looking at the video, rewinding it, trying to figure out if it's real. They don't care what they might as well just give us the fodder and have us argue online about it, because they also serve that whole Discord part of it. Like they're trolling all the people that believe it, really. Like the guys in here arguing with us, they're totally trolling them by not making it very
Uh,
believable at all, and having them try to defend the bullshit.
yeah, the like duper's delight and the well, it's like mind control when other people are under them. Because if you convince someone of a lie that you know is a lie, then in a way you have some control because now you were the one that convinced them of the thing that's false that you put forth. It's like trapping someone in a false world basically, or a false idea, and then you kind of have control over their world in some way, not fully, but in some way you can sway their emotions. Oh, we're landing on the moon. You get their heart rate going up. There's a lot that kind of goes with that. But what I was going to say, to me, the body language of those astronauts actually is very like deceptive, and I don't think they are. I know the surface level they're kind of coming off as these just like nice, like good home country people or whatever. But actually, like their body language and the way they are, I actually get a much more sketchier, like and purposefully deceptive vibe from them. Like that they know what they're doing, and they're just trying to put on the best face they can. So
Yeah, like they're acting, and they're probably nervous about it. Like they realize how big of a stage they're on. Probably part of it, you know. They're just these kids that they got plucked out of a group of people to be these astronauts that are homegrown looking people, just so that everyone else can identify with them or whatever.
yeah,
You
they
know,
do look a little
but
scared as well, and a little bit like
yeah,
nervous, and like that they're gonna
yeah.
mess up. I mean, think about like what are the consequences in their little cult network, whatever they have going on. What are the consequences if they mess up, or if they give up the gag or something? So do they have like threats of like to kill you or like physical torture? Like,
Oh, NDA agreement. I mean, yeah, you get paid if you do well. You get like maybe they get half their pay beforehand and then half their pay if they do well or something, or if they really fuck it up. I mean, but there's no live footage anyway. It's never going to be live. They may tell us it's live, but they're never going to like actually have anything live. All the live shit that we think we catch, they put in there on purpose, in my opinion, to troll us or to show us how fake it is, so that the thinking man has a way out. It's like there's a lot of people on that. There's a lot of people in the upper society or the elites that totally know for sure that this is fake. So it gives them something to laugh at too. It's like they're playing to everybody. You know, they have to do it in a way that like the people that know it's fake are like, haha, yeah, look how bad it is. And if anyone ever like came up to them that had some power and we're like, hey, you're faking all this, and they're like, they would just look at them and go like, duh, look how bad it is. You believe that? I mean, they're just making them feel stupid for even, you know, thinking that that it was like a big deception because it's so bad. You know what I'm saying? It's like it gives them the perfect out by doing it poorly. Because they're like, oh, well, we didn't do it like, believable anyway. So what are you
I think that
complaining
they
about?
would
It's for the
expect
good of
people.
society.
I don't think they would expect people to see through it though, because they're being told that the entire Earth is a globe and the rotation and the sunrise and sunset and everything is intimately linked into that. That humanity discovered it goes all the way back through history, even back to the like biblical times or whatever as well. And they claim all these characters that are like at the peak of their scientific endeavor with like Newton and Einstein and all these guys. So I don't think they would even expect that anyone would really deny it unless you're totally just aware of their scam, because
So what
like
do
Well,
you
but
guys
it's so
think then?
obvious. A lot
Are
of
they
people realize the Earth
dehumanized?
is flat on their own because it's just so obvious. Once you think about it, it's just like, oh, of course we're not on it. We're not a fucking spinning ball. Maybe
Well, no, I know,
maybe
but
there's a
they're not
certain rank
expecting that.
in the societies that you get that information. Like you pass a certain level and you get to find that out. I mean, there's lots of it's probably part of the
I, th-
higher Jesuit order. A lot of people know it's just not a spinning ball, and
I
that's
think
how
question
the
number
control is
one.
maintained.
I think question number one is whether they are dehumanized.
Yeah, so I mean, if they have a very like sick, psychopathic, dehumanizing, like mental condition type thing, or I would even say like demonic, then yeah, like well, that whole like the idea that these secret societies they like think they're like better than us, or like that they're like a higher race than us.
Yeah, okay, but I got to go. But my only point was, it's much better if they do like if they just tell the people, look, society is like a big group of cats with children. Like we have to keep society together by playing to the lowest common denominator of society to keep order. We can't have like the common man know these things, or it wouldn't be good because they don't know how to handle. They can't handle the truth. So we have to treat them
Wouldn't the
like
world just
children.
be better if
And
we all
that's
knew
that's how
the
they
Earth's not?
justify it. I think.
Wouldn't it just be better if everyone know the Earth's not a globe? Because like the only society
I
that
don't
would
know.
is the messed up one they made, and we can let that one go. No one needs a
Well, it depends on what the truth is. It depends on what the actual truth is. Like, what if the truth is like somehow a threat or somehow like dangerous, or maybe there are outer ponders we have a treaty with, we can't literally can't say it. Who knows whatever the story is, we don't know if it'd be better or not. But the scarcity of goods is important for society. Like they have to keep people convinced there's only so much gold or silver or oil, and there's only so much resources. If people knew that there's infinite resources, that would change the way they think about the value of everything.
And
So they
maybe we
probably have
should.
all kinds of ways, but societal structure has to be this way that they justify it.
Oh, well, if we justify it better than they have, then we hold the superior position to run things. I think
Well, I mean, if they made the society the way it is with
it's
certain
definitely how
programming,
we should go thinking about things.
then yeah, they want us to
Well,
stay in their thing for sure. Like if
we we
with
we
all
need
the
to spread
social
the word.
engineering, they want it kept together with their. I kind of refer to this whole thing as like a fake empire. Like they have a fake empire. Like they took over in whatever way they commandeered through genocide, World War One, World War Two, just murder, just crazy criminal stuff, to where this group has been able to get to this position. Like really since World War Two. and then come over and have the Nazis create NASA and outer space and the globe and rolled out Disney and NASA, the United Nations, the whole like New World Order after World War II, and now they have this like this hold. So yeah, I mean they want it to stay together, their society, the way that they've kind of like organized it. But you're saying they would tell the other deceivers that they have to deceive because they need it to stay together and convince them because
I'm
it's
just saying they probably have all kinds of stories from the top down that they convince the next level of people of to keep the things going. You know, the structure could have many layers to the onion where, you know, it's just much better if you convince the people that are, you know, working for you that there's this like greater good that they're working for. Then you keep them, you know, with their like confidence and everything, you know, going, rather than feeling like they're just evil people when they go to bed at night. They have to have some story that keeps them convinced that they're doing something for the greater good, whether it is or not. You know,
what if they are
it's
just
like you
crazy?
wouldn't want your children, like with all children, they see us as children, right? And that's convincible way for people to, like, you know, be like, look, someone's going to shoot somebody in the future because there's crazy people out there. So to prevent that, we have to do this fake shooting so that there's no, like, the crazy people will be prevented in the future. We'll have better security.
Yeah,
People will be aware of it. It's like a way of convincing them they're doing something good. That's way
they're
better
like
than like, oh, we're these
dreamscaping.
evil people and you're gonna be an evil person with us. You know, that
They're
wouldn't
like
work.
dreamscaping, like a trend.
Well, like
Yeah,
criminals that do crimes though, like just in the world as is, like ones that we know about and whatnot, some of them are like really psychopathic to where they will just say like even like those Indian tech support scammers, like I was saying earlier, I've seen it like some of those videos. Like some of those guys at the end of the call, after they realize that the guy was just like messing with them the whole time and he starts screaming. But I've heard some of those guys like, oh, I'm making more money than you. I've got Ferraris, I've got a mansion. What do you have? And he's like making fun of the YouTuber. Like the YouTuber's like making, you know, whatever money off YouTube to like, you know, it's called like scam baiting. So he like baits these guys for hours. So like he's getting paid on YouTube. And then at the end of it, there's like this showdown where the other guy on the other line, he realizes that it was him with a voice changer, you know, all that stuff. And I've just heard a few of those where there's like revealing of what's going on. And some of those, like one of them I've heard where the guy, like he was like literally just like proud of what he was doing. He's like, oh yeah, we're scamming you. We're taking all your money. You know, he's like, you idiots. He's like, you're so stupid. We're just smarter than you. And all you dumb Americans, we'll just steal your money all day, man, all day. He had this wicked sound in his voice, you know, and he was just saying, he was just like, yeah, he's like, well, I'm, you know, just straight up. So, I mean, if a guy like that, who's just some dude who's probably making like, yeah, he probably is making a lot of money. They're getting thousands of dollars in those scams. And he's just like some guy that just got into that scam world. So, I mean, at the level of like whatever we call the Illuminati or like at that level, why would they not just be completely criminal minded and just like, oh, yeah, we're doing this. We're lying to them. You know what I mean? Like Dave, what you're saying, like, yeah, if you had to convince like a normal person to do it, yeah, I hear you. That would more be in line. And maybe some of these people are in that situation. Therefore, and maybe that's like if you're referring to them as well, I would like agree with that part. But I mean, the ones that are really like in on it, I think they just would have like they're like the flip side of good. You know, they're just evil. They just have evil energy, evil intentions, and to me, it's like probably spiritual. It's like an actual dark entity that is going on with that.
I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm just saying that, like, if they're just humans and they're born into a family that makes them tap for secret society, people have all kinds of ways of justifying what they do and feeling like, you know, I mean, even just like with politics, we see like, you know, both sides of the, like, Republican, Democrat, or, you know, we have these images of, like, you know, well, this Republican just, you know, wants to, like, you know, get rid of everybody, or he's totally racist, and all these assumptions that we might put on him. And maybe some of that's true, but then you look at the other conservative side of the argument, and they have ways of justifying it that they think it's for the greater good that they're doing whatever they're doing. People are, if it's just people, humans, it's much easier to, like, you know, say this is your role, and it's just better for the whole. And that's the sell. And they probably go to bed at night thinking that they're doing, you know, a good thing, regardless of how evil it might be in an overall objective way. They have to, and it's just much better. It's like a religion. You have to convince people that what they're doing is the right thing, you know, even though it seems completely evil from the other side sometimes.
But doesn't that imply that those people you're talking about are people who want to do the right thing? What about people that just don't want to do the right thing? They just want to hurt others and just be evil. Like out of a movie, like the evil dude who's
I,
like what about that? Like, because you're making it like
yeah, I've
if
never
you're
met anyone
convincing
like that.
someone who
Maybe a few, maybe a couple people that were that sketchy, but those are few and far between. I think, as far as I've seen in the world, it's mostly people just convincing themselves they're doing the right thing because they think they're good people and they're enjoying their money. But they're also giving to the charity that they think is doing a good thing, and or maybe they feel like even at the highest level they feel like they're God, and maybe they're like, okay, well, we're playing chess basically, we have to sacrifice some pieces, but overall we're trying to win the game for everyone. And that's probably, I'd imagine that's how some of them justify it. I have no idea, neither of us could know. I would
yeah,
think that's a better way to control people is to convince them they're doing something good, even though it may seem bad to the public.
possibly I hear you. I guess I'm just kind of putting tension up against the idea because I'm just like, okay, are we talking about like the astronauts kind of thing, or are we just talking about people lying about the globe?
Well,
Or
like when Buzz Aldrin said the truth's protective layers, right? Like he was kind of giving like the inside like information without really giving it, but then at the same time, like almost like a confession, like there's protective layers. I saw it as like there's protective layers for society, and this is part of that whole process. Is this illusion that people, it's a whole space thing is like a little fantasy thing. It's all like, Star Trek and all, the future of society. Like, look, we're giving them like a little, example of how it could work if everyone were on the same page and some of these characters and some of this stuff, like, well, we can't really, what if we couldn't go? Like, what if there is a border we can't go past, Would people feel psychologically better if they're just like, okay, this is our little colony and you can't go outside these areas. We can't even know why because they won't tell us, but that's just the perimeter and we're not allowed to go there. And that's the end of it. Would that be better than like the whole, like, oh, there's nowhere else to go? Well, we don't know, but maybe they justify it by thinking that that's a better solution than just telling them there's outer ponders that we can't ever know about or hear about or know the truth about because that's just the way it is. I don't know. What would be better psychologically for people? Maybe it doesn't matter because that's the situation we're in now, and they feel like they're just going along with the program to keep people having families and having babies and having societies that aren't completely chaotic with everyone trying to like rush the outer ponder wall or whatever. Who knows? I'm sure they have all kinds of stories on the higher levels that like this. They keep them feeling like they're doing a good thing because then it works so much better. It's like so much better to have someone feel like they're participating in a mass shooting that's fake because they think they're preventing future mass shootings rather than you better do this or we're going to kill you or we're just looking for all the evil people, the deceptive people to participate in this because, we just want to deceive the public. They don't see it that way, even if that's what it is. They must have a way of like thinking they're doing it, for whatever good reason that they can. I'm not saying it is a certain way. I'm just saying, wouldn't that work better to pay somebody and make them feel like they're participating in a good thing rather than like threatening them and looking for evil people to participate in it? Much easier.
um, it depends on who we're talking about. I mean, maybe, but I guess that's like sounding like if you're going off like what people call normies, then you were to try to convince one of them to do it. That's what I was saying before. Like I hear you, like maybe because like they already have a good intention energy, but I mean, dude, I've seen like in the breath work, just using breath when people go really deep, or with psychedelics. Dude, I've seen like literally exorcist level demonic energies in a person, and I'm talking people that were like, you know, like some like 45-year-old woman or 50-year-old woman who's just pretty gentle, pretty calm. If you went and talked to her, you'd be like, oh, she's and there she is, like doing the breath work, like literally purging demonic energy of like the depths from the depths of consciousness. Like it's like really intense. And sometimes that's like behind like their depression or maybe their addiction or whatever it may be. So like I'm just saying, like I have seen like in that and also in some of my own experiences as well, but like there is just true evil in this world. Like, and how
I
one has to,
I agree. I'm just saying, like, if maybe there are, but those people would be really hard to work with. If they were really, like, had some kind of demon in them, I imagine. I
no, I
think
mean,
it's
I guess, but
probably just
the
people
reason I was
justifying it.
The
That's
reason
all
I
I'm
was
saying.
linking it to that is that if there is this like cabal that is basically doing like actually in on these deceptions, like the actual globe Earth deception, the space deception, at those levels, the ones that are actually in on it, not any of the civilian level. The civilians, yeah, there might be some of those that have been convinced, and I would agree with that part of it, with what you're saying, like trying to be convinced it is for something good, like certain criminal, activities or criminal groups try to do that, try to get like some outsiders and like convince them. I get that, but I guess I just maybe see it differently. I'm not trying to say you're wrong or anything. I'm just saying that, like, to me, if we're talking about the people that are actually in on this deception, I actually would like consider that there is a demonic energy that is literally possessing their souls, and and that demonic energy lives through the bloodline and through the bloodline replication, which is why they're so psycho about their bloodline, to maintain that demonic energy. Because I've seen demonic energies just come out of regular people, so I have no question that they're there. And these entities that would actually be lying to this level, like, oh, that's another question, like, are they even human? But I hear what you're
Yeah,
saying.
all those
Like,
things are
like,
possible. I'm not trying to argue with you saying that that's not possible. It could be
yeah.
that, but I'm just saying that it might work better if it's more similar to what I'm talking about. Who knows? We can't
Well,
know.
like the
I
guys
have
that
to
are
go actually, but
faking the globe
yeah,
pictures, right? Like the ones who
yeah,
touched up, who just did this recent one that everyone's talking about with
yeah.
the streamers. Like, whoever put that composite together, what is he being told? Like, does he know it's flat? Is he just totally in on it? Like, yep, we're just lying to
The
him. It's
guy,
just
the crew in the Artemis crew. You mean?
no. The ones who I'm saying, like the behind the scenes one that gave us the new fake globe picture, the one with the stars around it that everyone's that they claim they took from Artemis. I'm saying
Oh,
somebody in some
yeah.
fact in some laboratory in Area 51 with a bunch of computers, whatever it is, they concocted that image as the next new globe one that everyone's now saying, "Hey, look, proof of globe."
Sure.
So that guy, as another example, he would be like a similar category of the astronauts, I suppose. But like it's just that question, like, is he just pure evil? Is he somehow convinced? Is it another species? Anyways, yeah. Or is he, like you said, is he
Yeah, there's
being
all those options. I'm just saying it might be just like, I mean, anyone paying attention, like all the media, I mean, they're giving us like Earth is flat commercials during Super Bowl. I mean, they're telling us directly, even though most people don't want to see it, so they don't see it, right? There's so many things now in society that, I mean, cartoons, The Simpsons, all the like parodies of the moon landing stuff. I mean, that doesn't, the people that are like at a certain level, that doesn't go over their head. They just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. But society, it's kind of like 9/11. Like 9/11 was obviously not what they told us, but most people that are at a certain level of making money or in their jobs or in whatever, that they may know it, but they don't talk about it because it's just not good for business. Like they know that society has a certain way of working, and you're not going to change that. So, I mean, the whole game board is fake with the spinning ball. So once you understand that, then it's like, okay, we're participating in a certain kind of fiction here, kind of like Santa Claus or whatever else. It's just good for these rituals to continue because otherwise, it's a reset or some kind of bullshit we don't want our kids to have to deal with. So we're going along with it, but also, there's this whole other thing that they could add attached to it, like a story about the outer ponders or the money that they need to like get, defend us from the outer ponders, and that's where the NASA money goes. But we can't tell people because we're going to scare the fuck out of them if we tell them that there's other civilizations and they can't handle that. All these kind of stories would be so useful. That's all I was trying to add as a possibility, you know, for them to be
yeah,
convinced of
no, I hear
something
you.
on a greater level. That's all.
And I would actually I resonate with what you're saying, that that's likely that is happening somewhere within this whole system, especially like in the CIA where they're going to convince those people. Like some of those might be like civilians, and then they're being convinced. I guess it just breaks down to like some of the specifics of like which ones we're talking about, and it's obviously to a level of speculation. But like the astronauts versus the guy making the fake globe images versus the ones that are running the GPS system behind the scenes that are fudging the coordinate system. You know, to all
Well,
these
yeah.
different
Also, if
layers.
you give like the guy that did the moon thing. I mean, they show no continents conveniently. I mean, the whole thing is just like it's perfectly like triggering for people that know it's fake, and then it's also triggering for people that it's good enough that they still want to believe it, and they'll go and defend it. even though there's not really, much to defend. It's really hard, and it creates the bickering that we've got going on in here. And that's part of the whole thing, is just to keep people arguing about stuff. And that's why the bad footage works best, because it's done, and it gives them the psychological out, like, oh, we're not even doing it that good. It's like, we don't feel bad if they believe this because it's so bad. That might be part of the psychological thing of it. That might be why they do it so poorly. Like, if you think we went up there and played golf on the moon, and it came back, and the story is just like ridiculous, right? They orbited the moon. The other guy orbited the moon 20 times while they're down there playing golf, like somehow. And there's there's like a speak and spell computer. All these things are like totally admitted to, maybe for the very reason that they can psychologically justify it. Like, it's so ridiculous that we don't feel bad if people believe it. That's all I was trying to say.
Yeah,
It gives a reason for the bad footage and for the astronauts looking like they're from the Wiggles. Like maybe they're just like somewhat normal people that feel like they're doing society a benefit.
I mean, we're in the realm of,
because the truth is too much for everybody. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you on these sentiments. I mean, at some level, this is like somewhat of a speculation in terms of what they might think or what's kind of going through their minds. So, like, I hear you on that. I find it hard to believe that they would actually think that by making it low quality, that people would actually, or that they would be. Are you saying that they think that they're absolved from the karma because it's so low quality?
That could be part of the psychological reason for it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just positing a possibility. It would make sense if that was the case.
Yeah, I've heard. What is that other theory that goes with that? Which is that yeah, like that they have an out. I guess it is kind of what you're saying. Yeah, if they make the fakery like so obvious that like
if they're convinced that the society, like like you're in high school and you have to like get a pass to go through the hall because there's kids that are going to sneak out if they don't have to have a pass, and like some of these rules that they make up for keeping the school safe and sound, right? That you have to go along with because there's bozos in the school that are going to do something fucked up if they don't make that rule. And it sucks that they have to like base the rules on the kid that's going to do that, but that's how these people are convinced society is. And to some degree, that's true, right? So to keep it safe and sound for everyone, we have to keep these illusions going because as a whole, we have to treat society kind of like children. That's why we do like the whole questioning of like, questions from children for the astronauts. It's like they're telling us directly, you're your children. This is for children. These are children. We're playing with water and we have wires hanging out all over the place. We're not even doing a good job. It's insane if you believe it. But if you want to believe it, here you go.
Yeah, I think just one of the general like rebuttals I have for that idea when it comes to karma is that I don't think that actually does absolve you of karma. Like if let's say that I was gonna, okay, there's two people, person A, person B, and person A has a car that's worth like $1,000, right? He has an old car. It's worth $1,000 at most, maybe even $800. That's it, right? But he finds a guy who has no idea what's going on with cars, I guess. And he tells this guy like, yo, I'll sell it to you for $20,000. And this guy pays him 20 grand, So that would just be like, okay, so you could say like the guy made the price so ridiculous, 20 grand, that this guy paid it, but would he be absolved of that karma of just completely ripping the dude off? You know what I mean? So it's not really an argument against you like speculating that they may do this or whatever. They may have this in their mindset because I've heard that idea as well. And I consider that as well, that they may have something like that going on. But I'm just saying like in terms of as an argument that it does absolve you of the karma, I would say it doesn't actually absolve you of the karma. because you're still doing the wrong act. In this case, they're still lying to us, telling us it's a globe when it's not, telling us we're rotating when it's not, making up Lorentz contractions and all this crazy stuff with interferometry, all the stuff that they are doing through the years and everything today with NASA and the whole thing. Like, they are just bald-faced lying to us and completely deceiving us. So even if they do make the quality really bad, I don't think it does like absolve them of the karma. But I hear you that like I do wonder that too. Like if they somehow think that some way that they try to think that it's not their fault, or if they put it on other people that it's their fault for believing it, rather than, but that would
Yeah, I
still
would
be.
never think that that absolves them of any karma or whatever. It's just that they probably don't even think that they need, if they're convinced it's for the greater good, they don't even think they have a karma to resolve. And it's just much easier to work it that way, to convince them that they're doing something good, even though it's deceptive. That's probably how they work it. That's all I'm saying. You know, they could convince them the truth is just so ugly or so scary or so bad that society can't control, couldn't handle it. And it's just better if we do this. What about the price of gold? What about, the price of all these things that we have to continue, to push the scarcity of? Otherwise, society would break down. That's just the way it works. Like when you work for a company, like most everything that's bought and sold is, there's some kind of profit made. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So where do you draw the line then? If you're selling somebody something, is there karma involved in that? Well, it's just the way society works. Like if you can get something for a certain price and sell it for more, then that's business. So whatever the business is, it's just like you work for a company, and this is how the company works. And it's not all ethical, but it does at least provide some service for whatever justified reasons, and that's how it works. I'm sure that's how they keep it going without too many worries. I'd imagine. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like with Sandy Hook or whatever. Like if you're gonna actually, is it better to actually have those kids die, or just pretend they died so we can save kids in the future from dying? Like whatever it is they've got these people believing in, that's probably how they do it.
I mean, I've thought in the medical thing that same idea. There's the idea that maybe they convince certain people that are maybe like in between the civilian level and the high up level, that they convince them that like, yeah, these chemicals have side effects, these drugs, et cetera, but it's helping us develop better drugs. I've wondered if they use that, they're like, yeah, we might poison them along the
Sure, I
way,
imagine that's true. Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah,
for the betterment, eventually we'll get it right and then we'll help more people or something like that. Like to try to convince the ones that are like maybe, having to actually do like they have to allow certain things to happen that are like basically just like a medical travesty that they never should be letting happen, but they have some people that are like okay to do it, And I've just thought if they're convinced like, yeah, we're poisoning everyone, but we're developing better things in the future and we're going to make humanity, yeah, maybe they have some other lie where they tell them that there's some immune system disease or something, and so they have to test all these drugs to make sure they can save the human immune system to save the human race or something like that. Just I'm not now. I'm just going.
yeah. There's all kinds of levels, I'm sure. Yeah, because once you can build up, from the ground, like build up from scratch, and the whole thing's under your control, then you can like have justifications built into it. For sure, there's like whiteboards that have all of this worked out, like way long ago, how to like keep people levels deep, and then that people get to a certain, stage of questioning, there's an answer for them that justifies and makes them still continue with it, or feel like they're doing something good rather than bad. You know.
Yeah, unless they are just straight evil. Like, dude, this one woman who was kind of a famous story, like she was like she was doing the breath work, so it's just using breathing, but it can be really powerful. And she was going into this like demonic thing, and she literally had like 4 people that were all holding her down, but they were doing it like lovingly. They weren't like pinning her down. They were there helping her, and they were literally like had her arms down to the ground or whatever, and her knees, because she was kicking and thriving. Like she would have like hurt someone or herself. These energies can be so intense, she would have hurt herself or others. And she ended up she told the person, she like because they were like, okay, do another batch of breathing and really release the energy, like let it go, you know? And she was like, okay. She's like, but before I do, she's like, just to let you know, she's like, this energy is evil. She's like, it will claw your eyes out. She's like, it is really, really evil. And they were like, it's okay. We have you held down. Go for it, you know? And then she was able to go through it and like release it. And it ended up healing her of like lifelong depression. It was like this huge healing thing. But, anyways, but like just that type of energy, you know, it's like, it just literally would claw your eyes out, you know? So I'm just saying, I do think that really evil level exists. I think that like if we don't have that consciousness though, like we would try to like figure out like how could they ever do this stuff, you know? And so all these ideas we're talking about are like spectrums within that of like what would even bring a human mind, like assuming they're human. Like if they're not human, then I guess we're dealing with something else. If they're like shape-shifting reptiles or something wild, then we could be dealing with a whole nother thing, or some outer ponders or something that are just not even real humans. But if they are humans, then yeah, we would all like have to think like, okay, well then they have a soul somewhere in there. But then we also know people do really criminal stuff too, like mass murderers and stuff. So yeah, that's
Well,
why.
yeah, if there was that kind of evil, like, you know, I mean, like, or they could convince somebody that that kind of evil, you know, is what is in control. Like we're the outer pounders, they're fucking bastards. Like if we don't do what they say, you know, we're just trying to like do as much good as we can, and we have to go along with some of these weird things to keep society under this illusion that we're on a spinning ball as part of the whole, like, you know, thing that we can't get out of for whatever reason. Like we have to keep that illusion going. There's nothing we can do about it.
I mean, that would be
You
one
know,
of the most compelling stories of like dangerous outer ponders. One of the most compelling ones would be
yeah,
to tell that you'd have to tell them like, hey, we have to lie about the globe. They told us we have to.
yeah,
You know, we et cetera, et cetera. And if we mess up, they're gonna kill us, you know, that type of thing. They're gonna kill
sure,
everyone or whatever, you know.
yeah, or even like the human trafficking. Like maybe it could be that there's actual human trafficking. Like I think there was a movie that actually had that premise. Like it was with aliens, but like they had to trade a certain amount of humans to the aliens, otherwise, like the aliens would just like come and like take them, you know, randomly. So like you can select the people that you give us, or you know, we're just gonna come randomly take them whenever we want. Your choice. You know what I'm saying? But if they convince, I mean, maybe there is some kind of weird thing going on with like outer, you know, civilizations that we have to actually trade people to, and that's not out of the question. In fact, it might make a lot more sense for a lot of things that we're seeing if that's the case. But you know, if you told people that was the case, then they would be like, okay, well, that sucks, but I guess we best make the best of things, you know, and the only thing we can do is make the best of it and go on with what we have to. Even if that's not the truth, that'd be the perfect thing to keep people like in on it, you know, because they're scared of like the alternative.
Oh, dude, that's like a nightmare out of a movie. Like there's some criminal
Yeah,
organization that's like forcing you to do something, and if you don't do it, they're just gonna kill you. So then you have to do some
right.
other crazy. Well, that's like getting into like those deeper, which we've all seen in movies, you know, and people are like either threatened or forced to do things, and then yeah, just crazy scenarios.
Yeah, if they're convinced that that's the case, then it would make sense that they don't want to tell the public that. Like, oh, we can't tell the public that we're under this threat. You know, we're gonna like totally fuck society. Outer pounders are coming to get us if we don't do this. Can't tell society that. So we have to make up these other things that keep them in like, you know, an illusion of
Oh, another
happiness.
like narrative could be that with the idea of outer ponders, that the outer ponders for okay, maybe it's even the outer ponders doing it though, but that they're lying to us
Yeah, you
about
never know.
the globe so that we don't know that there are outer ponds. Basically, like just
Exactly.
hide it straight up. And that goes into the hidden
Yep.
land thing, hiding land.
Oh yeah.
They would just be like, we'll
That's what I was
convince
saying
you
from the
all it's a
start.
globe so that like let's say
Yeah.
there is other lands that they don't want us to know about. Convince us it's a globe, and then that hides those lands. There, boom, completely
Yeah.
concealed in the globe lie.
Right.
And then
And
we
isn't it
focus
better
on fake
to
outer
like
space.
lie to the people rather than say there's like outer ponders and land we can't go to? You know, like we can't tell people about that. They can't know about that. Otherwise, we're fucked. You know, this is the way.
Well, and
And
also,
we didn't make up the lie. We inherited the lie. Now, if we change it, we're fucked. So it's not like we're deciding to lie. We just have to continue it. Otherwise, there has to be some kind of reset. And you don't want that. You want your kids to live in a like somewhat together society. And if we tell them the truth about other lands, it's going to change everything. And you don't want that because it fucks everything up. Anyway, that was just my,
Well, I mean, the
it's like
narrative
I
that
always say about that. But.
that there are outer ponders and they just wanted to hide the other lands and then therefore convinced us of globe and then distract us with outer space and putting all the idea of exploration in the idea of outer space, but having their Freemasonic Jesuit actors actually be the ones who are doing it. The rest of us are just sitting on Earth paying taxes, you know. That would be another like major potential for that kind of idea, to where they would then like distract all of us into thinking that the only place to explore is outer space. There's nothing more to explore on Earth. Pretty much we know, oh, it's a ball, here it is. Oh yeah, nothing too exciting. Oh, it's really cold down south and really cold up north, so who really cares about those? And then everyone's just living on the ball. Yeah, that would be, we've talked about that before. That's like a classic way to hide it. But I'm saying if it was actually the outer ponders doing it, whatever that even means, but like some other entities that were the ones actually lying to us. Because the other scenario you're saying is that there's some people here that are good people, and then there's outer ponders threatening them. But what about if it just is the outer ponders that are just doing this whole thing?
Yeah, how would you know? Like whoever you're getting the story from, unless you actually confirm for yourself and meet the outer ponders and know that they're not just actors playing the outer ponders. I mean, I don't know how that would even be confirmable unless you like personally went there or, like did a whole bunch of research to know that you're being told the truth. The story is the story. I mean, there's got to be other lands within this pond too. That and all they have to do is like take someone to that island that oh well this is because society might destroy itself, so to make sure the society survives we have to have these other lands where people are living as well, and they'll never get nuked or whatever that the threat would be. Like this is like a safe haven, like a seed bank of people, and to keep that seed bank safe we can't tell the other people about the lands that they're on, otherwise they're threatened. So for the good of humanity, to survival of humanity, there has to be some land that's totally off off the map. Some story like that would work perfectly, whether it's true or not.
If we were being lied to about that, and being forced to lie to about by the outer ponders, they're forcing us to lie to our own people. That would make sense why they do such a shitty job, because they really want us to know the truth, but they're being forced to lie to us by the outer ponders.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, yeah, true. That's been brought up before. Like, yeah, like kind of like I just did with like the karma of it. Like maybe they do a bad job, so they don't feel as bad. But yeah, maybe they're being forced to do this, and it seems like we've brought up the idea that maybe they did that on purpose to give us the heads up because they're forced to go along with this deception.
That's actually kind of a funny, dude. That's a trippy narrative right there. Hold on, the idea that like, okay, just think of this as like a movie plot at this point. I'm not trying to say this is real, but okay,
yeah.
If there's like some humans here, and they were building society or whatever, then there was some engagement from some like outer ponder or alien or whatever type entities, and they were like, okay, you're under our control now. And then they're the ones giving them the directive to lie about space and all that. But that the people that are being forced to lie about space, this is a whole wild narrative that they're being forced to lie about the globe and space instead of they're choosing to do it. So these are very different things. If it's just evil dudes choosing to be evil or whatever it is, and they're lying, okay, to get benefits and to control society, that's one thing. On the other hand, what if they're like we're saying, like under some kind of threat that they have to do it? And then that weaves an interesting narrative of like, the reason the space stuff is so bad is because there's actually people undercover trying to make it so bad. But then you'd have to say that like the outer ponders in that case, like don't have very good quality control. So they don't really care if they just give us a blotch of like a piece of machinery that looks like it's from the 1960s with just a black sky and claim that they're going to the moon. And somehow people are buying this because that's literally what they did. Like the little jettison things. Anyways, that little piece of equipment on the left is so... it's just so outdated and absurd to think that that's actually going to the moon. Anyways, but that they're doing it so obvious, like they're trying to let us know it's fake so that we can liberate ourselves from the evil threat they're under. And we've seen that in like movies and stuff, but that kind of plot where like, and then they're actually secretively, purposefully trying to show us that it's fake in that way to actually get us to like wake up to it so that more people would be aware so that we could like, the power in numbers kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's like from the very start, like the first movies, like the ones they show the wizards, right? Like they showed us from the very start. Here are the wizards, all like gathering for this, and then all of a sudden they change to astronaut costumes or whatever, and they act like they get on a ship and go to space. It's like, here's the narrative we're gonna go with. We're gonna fake space in like a magic act, and this is gonna be like the standard for society to run under, so we can keep like all the information and keep control. And we're going to tell you at the same time that we're doing it by showing you the wizards and the space stuff from the very beginning with those old movies. And it's just like you could either choose to believe it or not. I mean, back in the day, they used to just flaunt their gold like to the peasants and gaslight them in the same way. But this is like a whole nother level of like gaslighting, where it's like we're gonna have it worked into every nook and cranny of society, this globe idea. And so if anyone ever finds out that it's not real, that they don't have a choice but to go on with it, because what's your option, right? Like, it's just not good for business to not go along with it. We're gonna make it impossible for it to not be like, participated in this illusion, right? It just works better that way. And then the people that are actually intelligent, they can just know it's not real, like they figured out 9/11, but they don't mention it because they know the guys at work are, it's not going to sell them more, whatever they're selling their business, because the illusion is more important than the reality when it comes down to it. When it comes down to sales or business, it's all about the illusion. Money's an illusion.
I mean, I've always thought that they just are choosing to do it, whoever these entities are. I don't really think they are like necessarily under some kind of threat, and that's why they make it. Because that's the question: why is the fakery so bad, basically, or why is it not better? But I actually think that's more for a reason that they like. Okay, it's a fine line. If they make it look really, really good, it's going to look like the movies. And it's going to look really like jaw-dropping good.
Yeah.
Jaw-dropping good. And that's going to be tough because it's going to be hard to make that perfect. Like, we know that even in movies, like these high-budget movies, there's still a bunch of editing errors in them. You know what I mean? So, like, it's really hard to make it perfect. So that's going to be an issue in general. And meaning to make it perfect. And then it also would like blend with like movies. People would be like, whoa, this looks like Gravity. And then movies are fake, whereas this is supposed to be real. And if it's like too close, I've always thought that's like they figured it's too close of a psychological similarity that people are just going to be like, oh, is that even real or not? Like, that just looks like the movies, But if it looks like this, like kind of quirky and a little bit like industrial, where there's not much going on and that kind of thing, I've always thought that it just kind of like they have like a reverse psychology going on. Yeah, kind of like when it looks with that line Elon Musk said, like, it's real because it looks so fake. That's basically it, like they are trying to get people to think it's real by having it look fake, to where people get that instant thing of like, oh, that's fake. But then they're being kind of mind controlled in a way, or like, told to that impact you have of, oh, that's fake. You're supposed to go, oh, that's why it's real, because it looks quirky, but that's why it's actually real. And that's why it's different from the movies. The movies have that jaw-dropping, like that thing to them. They're not going to show us that. Like, you think of this moon thing coming up, they're going to show us some amazing jaw-dropping 360 footage. No, it's just going to be a bland layer of a fuzzy moon, most likely. So, movies as like reverse psychology is what I've always thought.
You don't think the
And like, go ahead.
Video footage look like the movies? Like when Stanley Kubrick, supposedly filmed the moon landing, you don't think it was similar to 2001: Space Odyssey? Because I thought it was pretty close.
Oh, that is a good point. It is actually quite close, yeah, with that particular, the Stanley Kubrick. But they still made it like kind of lower quality, and I hear what you're saying though. At that time, because yeah, they used even the same backdrop technology as Stanley Kubrick. So yeah, that would be a place where like Hollywood blended over. But I'm just saying, like what they could be giving us now of like amazing 360 footage, like the way that like the movie Gravity or some of those type things. You know, they're not blending it there. But yeah, I do hear you with that Stanley Kubrick situation.
I've been saying all along they need to get Christopher Nolan to film this. It would be a lot more believable.
I think it's perfect the way
Roohif, you
they
got
do
to
it,
admit it's
but
just terrible, right?
yeah, it's
It's
perfectly
terrible.
terrible. Perfectly terrible.
It's like
Because then they
purposely
can have
terrible
everybody
at
else
this.
run.
It's
Yeah,
purposely
it's gotta
terrible
be.
at this point. You know what they're pretty good at
Yeah.
though, dude? The whole zero G effect is pretty decent. Like that is one of their better little tricks they got going with this.
You think? Because the stuff like the microphones floating and like that, it doesn't even make any sense with like the way that they're like kind of centered in the middle. I guess people could say that they're like harnessed, and that's why they're harnessed so they can stay in frame or whatever. But it's just the way things float and all that. Like the hair's bad. Like it's all bad. It really is.
No, I hear you. It is very corny and kind of cheesy, and the acting's really bad, and their body language is a complete
Yeah.
giveaway. But the actual zero G effect, I think they have down fairly well. Yeah, I mean, good. It's pretty decent. I mean,
Like how do
in
they
terms
do it?
of
Yeah, maybe there's some kind
how
of
how
magnets
are they
going
doing
on.
it? Yeah, I'm not convinced it's just a
Yeah.
zero G plane at this point. I know they've used zero G planes in the past, for
No.
sure. This is something
Uh-uh.
different though. So like, do they have some kind of magnetic field generator, or is it
Yeah, I
all
think
just?
that's it.
Do you think so? Because
It's
that would
gotta
be
be
like
it.
a free energy level Tesla, John Hutchinson directed energy weapon level shit. Have you heard that at 9/11, like there was things hovering, people were claiming, which also apparently
Really?
happens during hurricanes. Yeah, things actually start to hover because
Hmm.
like their ground direction changes, kind of like a Van de Graaff generator actually, but like the ground like vortex field like actually inverts, and it actually happens during hurricanes. Also, there's
Huh.
like magnets will lose their magnetism during hurricanes as well. So there's or during rainstorms. So there's some interesting static electricity effects that start to happen
Sure.
during these effects, and people claim that like for example, during a hurricane, like a car will be like balancing on top of a fence, like upright. And it's like people have actually seen cars like hover, like literally lifting and then moving over and like actually dropping onto a fence. But not due to like just the wind blowing it around, not due to like hurricane level winds. Like there's some other electrostatic effect. And during 9/11, they brought a hurricane right up, what was it, Hurricane Aaron, I think it was called, right up off the coast of 9/11. So they may have actually used the hurricane in combination with the directed energy weapon. Also, those fires in Lahaina in Hawaii, they called those like hurricane fires. Like it's likely they were using the hurricane with that too. Now, could they have some generator that would create that zero G effect? Now, I'm not convinced that's what they're doing. It's just one idea.
I imagine there's just been examples of that too, like with magneto hydrodynamics at least, but also there's I bet they have a room with a big magnet underneath it, right? And then they're wearing like probably some kind of like metal suit underneath, like some kind of padding that could possibly help with the floating idea. Where like the magnets, if you have one magnet on top and one magnet below, you could just mess with the magnetic field. I bet you can make people float that way.
I mean, I'm open to the idea, but it could be considered kind of a stretch though to consider that they would actually have that. The only reason I'm a little bit against that they're actually doing that though is because it doesn't really look like a genuine environment to me. Like it doesn't fully look genuine. I realize the microphone's floating around. Yes, they grab it. I realize that, but it looks off to me. Like there looks to be some kind of a digital overlay, and there's something about it. I'm not saying I have like some dead set like proof on it though, or like some shooting gun, because it is pretty good what they're doing with that. Like the zero G effect, and they obviously focus on it. That's why they're always like doing the water bubble things and the whole ISS. I mean, they've been doing that for years, and it's taken them years to get it to that level. But I guess what I'm saying is that it just doesn't fully look to me like they actually are moving items that are floating, because that's a pretty dramatic thing. Like even though, yeah, I'm open to the idea that there is some kind of electric field effect or some way, but you'd have to consider that it would have to be like stable enough. It would have to not damage their bodies. It would have to be able to be stable enough for long enough amount of time, and then it would have to give that complete zero G effect. So I'm not saying that's impossible. I mean, Hutchinson was getting stuff to levitate as well with like different frequencies, at least is claimed. And in some of his videos, I know some people doubt that as well. But yeah, I mean, there's some pretty wild things you can do
Yeah,
with
I was going to
frequencies.
mention Hutchinson. Yeah, the Hutchinson effect. They could be using that. But I have to go. But
I'm more
Okay,
thinking
so
of maybe like some kind of like augmented reality digital overlay though, where they might have some kind of like
yeah,
material that they can touch, and then they just sync that up with a digital floating thing. You know,
wouldn't you agree then? Like most of it, what we're seeing is probably not even close to live, and like a lot of the mistakes might have been shown to us on purpose for the reason, like for the whole discord of it. You know, like there's no way they like accidentally showed us all those wires. You know, with the people, like, you know, there's so many mistakes. It seems like they're gaslighting us with that, and that's why we see it, because they're showing it to us on purpose for whatever reason.
which
so
ones?
it's been a few minutes.
Just the wires on the ISS and them catching each other, and it's just a lot of the mistakes that there's so many blooper reels. It couldn't be
Yeah.
like that. Maybe that if it's something they really wanted to protect and not have anyone see those mistakes, it'd be easy enough to just like make sure that they don't show us any live shit, which they probably never really do. They just show it to us all on purpose. Because you know, the mistakes could be made if they were giving us real live footage. You know, it's too like they don't ever really need to do that. So why do they do it? Well, they don't really do it, and they just act. You know, that's my opinion. They're gaslighting us.
Well, and if you
Yeah.
remember, there was that video a few years ago with the president walking through NASA, and they showed that astronaut on the green screen, and they were digitally adding that tennis ball, weren't they?
Yeah,
It's been a
like
minute since
that was
I've
just
seen
an
the video.
accident. All right. Oops. Oh, I guess everyone's gonna see that now. I mean, it's total bait.
But didn't they digitally add that tennis ball? Wasn't that tennis ball digitally added in that when they did that
Yeah.
shot? So
Yeah, the
I
whole
mean, and
thing
that
was like
was years
right there.
ago. Who knows what they can do now with the technology? I think it's all Hollywood smoke and mirrors where they did the water bubbles are not there. They're digitally added. It's
Probably.
they
Yeah.
go through and they edit it and they have markers of where they put their hands and just like I mean they do it in Hollywood every day. And it looks way better than anything NASA's ever put out. So they're taking cues from Hollywood. Yeah, I think it's all digital, but that's just
And
my
that, and,
opinion.
and
Thank
again,
you.
I have to go, but yeah, then again, that goes back to the point. Like if they are doing it on purpose, then that gives them like the justification. Like, we showed them how fake it is, and they still believe it. Like the justification. You know. Anyway, I gotta go, guys.
What are we talking about?
All right,
Whether you
Dave.
can like
Cheers, bro. Have a good night.
Good night.
levitate them,
Yeah, you too.
whether you can levitate people with magnetics. Is that the gist?
That is one theory of how they're simulating the zero G effect and not actually being in outer space, yeah, or what they call outer space. Possibly, yeah.
Do you want to
Like-
like? Does anyone want to do some calculations as to I don't know how many Teslas that would require?
But it might be a different type of when Tesla when you talk about the radiant energy, which is something that we don't really have access to that we know about, but there's apparently it was like an electricity that went through the air and it didn't damage the body. Just
So
an
there's something that
example.
we don't know about that can explain everything.
Well, one theory that could be said, I'm not even necessarily saying it's the case, but it is an idea that they could have some maybe free energy technology or electromagnetic, electrostatic technology, something that they're using to simulate that effect. That is one idea. Yeah.
Which is magic that it can explain everything, right?
No, it wouldn't be magic. I mean, actually, we could get into I think they used a directed energy weapon type device at 9/11. There's tons of evidence that does not match with any known physics, but we could get into all that another time. But I'm just saying I already think that they have, and what they may be controlling the weather with. And it's not even that they made these things. They may have just taken them from the old world, from people in the past who may have had more advanced technology. But yeah, I'm open to the idea that there are energy structures, whether you want to call it free energy, quantum energy, et cetera, that exist that are being hidden from us. Yeah. And could one of those be something that could create a zero G effect? I'm not necessarily saying I even feel strongly like that's the case, but it is a possibility.
Like when everyone goes, oh, it's electrostatics instead of gravity. Has anyone sort of done any calculations with our current understanding of electrostatics, whether that's even viable? The answer is no.
Yeah, you mean just like a Van de Graaff type replication?
Yeah.
It's just
Lifting a
raw
piece
like
of
that?
styrofoam.
Yeah, we've looked at that. Yeah, if you're gonna just use that like ratio, then yeah, you would need a tremendous amount. But I don't think anyone's suggesting that is like what gravity is entirely, or that's what they're using for this effect. Like not that directly. It's kind of a crude version of like Rockefeller electricity, basically.
Yeah.
I'd like to say I agree with you 100% on the directed energy weapon. It seems like probably like an ion cannon type of a thing. But yep, I agree.
Yeah, they have these devices that seem to function somewhat like microwaves, and also like seems to be able to like rip matter apart, like rips matter, like particularizes matter. But that's a whole nother
Yeah,
thing.
and if you see the way they twist those beams around when they shoot them with those energy weapons, it does exactly what the beams in the World Trade Center did, to bubble up and get real soft. And yeah, there's definitely tons of evidence out there. Thank you.
Yeah, because the temperature that would those beams for them to turn into pretzels like that was not even present, and that's a very interesting thing. The beams, the pretzel beams. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be quite a thing though to consider that they have a zero G machine. I mean, some of these things like microwaves and like, we can see these in the world, so it's not that big of a surprise. Some of these wave patterns, but to have something else entirely, I think it's more likely that they're doing it with like augmented virtual reality type of setup when they're doing these. Seems to be more likely than them actually having like an actual machine that can do it. Yeah, they may have had these directed energy devices even in times past, and now they're just being used for nefarious purposes. Because like
From what I understand,
you could use it to like clear land, for example, which arguably you're kind of damaging the earth, but at the same time, like if humans love to build like places to live, like cities and things, like that's just one example. You could use it to clear land rather than use it to like hurt people and take buildings down.
yeah, and from what I understand, isn't Nikola Tesla working on that kind of stuff, the death ray and all that other, So I mean, they might have had that technology for just decades now, close to a century.
Yeah, Tesla died alone while JP Morgan took the world over, even though, yeah, there's a whole hijacking that I think went on there. That's why I was calling it Rockefeller electricity. Like, it's a certain form of electrical energy that is not necessarily the same as what Tesla was working with. But obviously, Tesla lost out. JP Morgan crew won, and then now they use his name for their Elon Musk fake space and electric car company. They hijack his name to just desecrate his grave even more, sadly. We also heard the theory that Tesla was like tapped into like the old world, like that he had some of the like technology and blueprints from the old world, and that his family had retained it, and that's why he was able to do all that. Not that he necessarily invented it all himself, but that there was like leftover from the basically before, like if there was a reset of some sort, and he still had access to some of that and was trying to like replicate it and was trying to like to save that technology basically, or like to maintain it and then to replicate it and to try to like bring it back to life. You ever heard that kind of theory of it?
I haven't, but it makes sense with that. I mean, he had his hands in so many cookie jars that, I mean, you'd think that it would take a lifetime of just focusing on one of his projects to ever see it to completion, let alone trying to do, 17 different projects all at the same time. You'd think that, yeah, you'd have to have some kind of like insight into what you were doing beforehand. Just my thoughts off the top of my head.
You got
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
And you got the guy who built the Coral Castle who claims to have, he was like, he understood what the Egyptians did or something for the pyramids, you know.
Yeah, some frequency technology. Well, that's why it's interesting, like in terms of some of the ancients, what they may have had, and the idea that they were more advanced. That would fit in. I mean, I guess you would have to think that it was all just lost, or that there was some kind of reset. And if there was a reset, then whoever commandeered that would have just taken that technology and kept it underground. I mean, there's even the theory that like they've had like silicon technology and computer chip technology for like a very long time. That goes into the whole like reset thing though. More towards that, I would say, for that to be the case. Like if there's actually hidden technology that was really advanced in the past.
Even like healing technology too, because that's the interesting part about that Coral Castle dude is at 26 years old, he had terminal tuberculosis, but he says that it spontaneously healed, saying that magnets had some effect. So I think that's interesting too. And then that was at 26, and then at 28, he started building the Coral Castle.
And
For
by
sure,
the
that is interesting.
star forts and everything, they're laid out like circuit boards. So they were making giant circuit boards back in the day. Pretty sure used to harvest energy from the atmosphere. So I'm looking at the moon right now, a little better than half full. Have the astronauts supposedly made it there yet?
Yeah, can you see
What's
him?
going on? Nope, I cannot.
Tell me if you see a passport. There might be a passport floating around. Maybe that would identify him.
They got caught with the chroma key too, huh? Did you guys see that?
Did they though?
Yeah, in their interview, that little stuffed animal that they had floating in front of them, that little thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ended up having the chroma key image on it, and the guy has to like move it out of that spot for a second. Pretty
Did
weird.
that really happen? Or was that some guy trying to fool you?
How do you know anymore? Did the astronauts really get in the capsule, or is that just some guy trying to fool you? Because I have a
Did you look
possibility of
into it at
them
all?
not being in the capsule.
Did you look into it at all, or did you just make the claim because you heard it on the internet?
I just made the claim because I heard it on the internet. Same thing like you do with
Right.
them going to the moon. You just made the claim because they said they're going to the moon. Is that right
Do you
or
want
not?
to help him out, Gio?
They're not going to the moon, Roohif. Nice.
Roohif, you came in hot and you're getting roasted. I don't know what else to say.
Really?
I'm just joking. I'm joking. I'm not. No one needs to be roasted. I'm just because I just thought it'd be funny because you were coming in hot. I think Roohif's saying, dude, I posted it earlier, and then I posted the video that showed both of them. Like one of them was taken from a TV, it said, and one of them was taken from the original feed. But I think Galatrax has like more info on it. Like he was the one that was kind of tracking a lot more of it. So I think
The
Roohif
CNN.
is trying to say that. But Roohif, I don't know how much how much have you looked into it? Did you just see this and you just assume that the TV that somebody? I mean, do you know what it is? Did someone get to the bottom of it? Did someone add it? Was it, dude? I mean, it could be NASA having two different ones as well. So I mean, there's a couple
You
theories.
posted the debunk of it, right? CNN.
I just
has the
reposted
video.
it now. It's not necessarily a debunk. I think there's still questions about it. So what do you think you've debunked?
Yeah, you posted the debunk. CNN has the video of it. It was live streamed.
Okay, then what is this one that shows the chroma key? If you said if you think you've gotten to the bottom of it.
Some idiot fucking with you guys.
And how do you know that's the truth?
Because CNN has the live stream.
So you're just assuming that somebody made this other one?
Yeah, what's the source
That
of the other
would
one?
be the same argument in both directions, right? Really? You would be like, well, CNN
You've
is
got a
telling
live
the truth,
stream.
and the other guy is telling the truth.
Yeah, this is
How do you
getting
know?
to
What's the source
this
of
is
the
a
second
double
one?
this is a double-ended affirming the consequent possibility right
Another
here.
double-ended. What's
We're
the
both
source
doing
of the
it.
second one?
You're double
The
dipping.
second source is some clown saying that he filmed it off the TV, but you have a live stream on CNN. So who do you go with? Some random or a live stream on YouTube?
That's a good question, Roohif. Who do you go with?
Yeah, the live stream on YouTube.
Well, I mean, like, which one do you like? Do you know for 100% fact there's astronauts in that capsule?
When you say 100%, what do you mean? Is it logically possible for them not to be there? Sure.
Well, I mean, I
All
have like
evidence points to them, yes.
all evidence points to them, yes, except the emergency egress system being deployed, right?
Is this the puff of fucking smoke or whatever off to the left?
Yeah, there's an emergency egress system. Anytime that the Kennedy Space Center sends a rocket up, they always deploy it to remove it from getting debris and whatnot in it.
Cool.
And it's deployed every time, so they are able to get any astronauts or any personnel out of, that rocket in case of emergency up to T-1 second.
Cool.
Therefore, there remains the possibility that the astronauts did escape that capsule before taking off.
Cool, bro.
So yeah, you can't be 100%, and all the evidence doesn't point to it because there is the emergency egress system, which is a piece of evidence that points in the opposite direction. So therefore, you
Cool.
can't have 100% certainty on it.
Oh, smashed.
You're done.
Yeah.
So you think this guy on YouTube's pulling our leg, huh?
What is the source for the guy on YouTube?
And CNN is never pulling our leg, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You wrote-
Roohif, I've only seen this one little clip and I haven't looked into it very much. Gally was looking into it a lot more. But the thing is that I'm just surprised that you feel like you could come to a conclusion because there's several possibilities of what it could be. I'm not making any claims. Why would I? I'm just looking at it as you guys are too. I'm just surprised that you're like, oh, you know what it is already, even though you don't really know where that other one came from or whether either of them really. You're just seeing that video. Wouldn't you need more evidence, more verification?
You've got a live stream on CNN on YouTube.
I mean,
Which
come on, man. Live stream.
Yes. Yes, it's a live stream.
I just gave you a possibility that there's no even astronauts in the capsule, dude. So what would that mean if this is a live stream?
Is it a possibility? Is there evidence for that possibility?
Yeah, I gave you the evidence. The emergency egress system is deployed every time. Tactical French Cat says the sound waves from the rocket would kill them. Okay, well then why would they make the emergency egress system and advertise it as a system that they could remove rockets or astronauts or personnel off of the rocket by T-minus 1 second if they would just die from the sound waves, dude? Why do you guys say stuff like this? This is weird.
Do you have a source for the second one?
Yeah, this is super cope, dude. It's so weird. Tactical French Cat just used crazy cope. But yeah, here's your emergency egress system. I have a page on it and I'll post the video.
We're talking
Um,
about the green screen, right? Is there
oh, I thought you were talking about this
source
one.
for the second one?
I think it's pretty new. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just waking up. You know, you've had a lot of time to look at it, so.
Inside the spacecraft capsule, it's about 110 to 140 decibels. It takes about 200 to kill a person. That's like right at the rocket's engine.
Yeah, the emergency egress system definitely. If people get in it at T-minus 1 second and then still die, that would be a really faulty system, wouldn't you agree?
When I get a source to the second, filmed off the TV thing, then we can talk about the egress thing.
What if I told you the whole thing's being filmed off of a TV?
Okay. Oh, so Caleb.
Yeah, how are you gonna falsify it?
Caleb has posted a clear green screen AI thing. Yeah.
Roohif, the thing is, dude, any of like the fakery stuff, like I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but like if people are already believing what they've been given with this, they probably won't be able to see through the anomaly, the parts that indicate that it's not legitimate. Wouldn't that be fair to say?
No, we have a live stream on CNN, on YouTube, which doesn't have the green screen in it.
No, I'm not even talking about that one. I'm saying any of the fakery. Like, dude, how much NASA fakery stuff have you seen? Of all the bloopers, what percentage of all the the places where they mess up have you seen?
They
What do you
don't
think?
mess up. You guys interpret something as the stupidest possible thing.
No, but what percentage of it
the
have you
guy
seen?
dropping the screw near the toilet? Who was it before here? Probably 6 months ago. Someone swore blind that Dutch dude dropped the screw in front of the toilet until, well, sorry, even after I showed him that the screw thing was in the guy's hand.
All right, well, that's a whole other topic. We've gone over that one a million times, and it is problematic. It's very problematic. We've gone through that even in more detail, maybe since because I don't think you were here some of the last times, but nonetheless, we could do that one another time. I guess actually my original point was just to say that if somebody is believing this, what I'm saying is that I don't think that even if there was something that was like what would you need to see to show you that it's fake? When they're already hiding behind like all the what did you call it? Rubbish footage? The rubbish footage. I don't use that word, but you do, so.
Right. It's like the what's the big not Italian guy, but the Italian American guy who like grabs something and then grabs the rail. That guy. You know the one I'm talking about?
Kramer.
No. Give me a minute. I keep thinking Ralph Macchio. Hold on.
I was more just making like one kind of general point. It doesn't have to be. It's just basically okay. Like a lot of people have been agreeing, even the Globe people, that this is like a 3 out of 10 in terms of quality. And I'm just saying, if one is accepting a 3 out of 10 as real, then the likelihood that they would like see anything in or like see through the deception just seems lower to me. Like the likelihood that they would see through it, even whatever mistakes that people find in all this footage.
But when you
I would
say
say 3.
mistakes, I don't see mistakes. I see, a camera that doesn't change exposure properly and shit like that, right?
Is that a mistake? A camera not changing exposure properly?
It's not a deception.
What is it? It's
It's
just
just someone should have put a
just
camera on there.
crappy cameras with billionaires' money, just using junky cameras.
Fuck, I can't find this dude. Hang on.
Billionaires with janky cameras. Next week. It's an exclusive.
What's going on here? I feel like when you say it's a 3 out of 10, that includes there's like some rubbish going on, you know?
It's really more of a 2, actually, at best. But I gave it a 3 originally just to try to give it a little boost. Or a
It's like
little-
getting worse with time, right?
It is getting worse, yeah. It is. The few shots of the moon look like a cartoon, like Simpsons, just pasted in on the black screen. It looked really bad. So I don't know what we're gonna get with the footage. Is it just gonna be a kind of a splotchy moon in the corner with the little piece of equipment on the left? Is that all we're gonna get?
Yeah, I'm trying to find. I uploaded this. I can't find it. Mastraccio, there we go. Ralph Mastraccio.
I guess it's like the phenomenon I was saying. If somebody's really convinced by a magician and they're really convinced by him, they're more likely to not see through the illusion. So whatever things that are able to be seen through the illusion, if the person is just mesmerized by it, and I'm not saying you're mesmerized or trying to say that you're like, I'm just saying in general with that analogy of if somebody is really mesmerized by a magician, they're much more likely to believe what the magician's doing and to not see the little errors or mistakes. But if somebody's more skeptical and be like, this magician, I don't think this is real magic, they're much more likely to actually find the things that, because they don't have like any bias to believe it.
All right. Anyway, in the chat, I posted that Mastraccio clip that I uploaded several years ago. When was it? 3 years ago.
My God, this looks like the same thing as Artemis.
What?
Is this the same capsule?
It's the ISS.
The one.
This looks like the dude's laying up. No,
Yeah.
this is the one just from recently.
I just posted that one.
I
Geo,
clicked on.
and
Never mind. I clicked on Torah's one. My bad.
sorry
yeah,
about that. I
cool.
posted that real quick, Roohif. I just wanted you to check this. Is this legit? Because I'm wondering who's filming. I thought there was only 4 people in the capsule.
So the question was, all right, what is the source for the second video claimed to be filmed off the TV?
It's a dude on TikTok.
So random?
Yeah, that's where a lot of like that's where you get a lot of stuff is TikTok.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it more likely that some random is using AI or whatever to fuck with you, or YouTube and CNN have dodged their live stream?
Those are
more
both
likely?
easy. Those are both good possibilities. I mean, more likely, what
What's more likely?
confidence level do you have in CNN telling you the truth?
It's a live stream on YouTube. People
I'm
could have
asking
watched it,
what
downloaded
confidence.
it.
You just
It's
have
a
to
live
answer the
stream on
question.
YouTube.
It's simple. It's a
Right.
simple
It's
question.
a live stream. It's a live stream on YouTube. Anyone could have recorded it at the time that it happened. Right.
Okay,
So what's
yeah.
on YouTube now is what aired, right?
What confidence level do you have in CNN telling you the truth? Like, how confident are you?
It's irrelevant. It's not relevant.
No, it is. It is
No, it
relevant
isn't. It's a live
because
stream on
you're
YouTube.
trying to tell me that
Anyone
CNN
could have
wouldn't.
recorded.
But Roohif, don't you agree your argument hinges upon the fact that CNN wouldn't lie?
No, it doesn't. It's a live stream on YouTube that anyone could have recorded at the time.
Okay, no problem. What about this video that I posted? Where is this
Okay,
legit?
So this green screen, you've been fooled, correct?
I don't know for sure 100%. I can't say with 100% confidence or even 99.9% confidence level that I've been fooled. Because I don't think your argument so far has just been a genetic fallacy. It comes from a source that you don't know, therefore it is not true. That's not a valid argument.
Is it
It's actually
likely you've
non
been fooled?
sequitur and it's a fallacy that you're using. It
Is
doesn't
it likely
follow.
that you've been fooled?
It could be. It is possible that we are all fooled that reality exists.
Okay.
Do you deny or agree that the Earth isn't real? You know.
The hell's happening?
Actually, it was half in the middle of something. So Geo, the Matrachio, whatever thing, right? You recognize that guy where he claims to Flurf's claim that he grabs something and then grabs the railing to the right, to his right. You know that guy, right?
I see your video, and yes, I'm familiar with this little setting
Yes.
here. This clip.
So this video is me cutting out every occasion in that video where he either crosses his hands or grabs the railing to the side. He does it constantly through the video.
Sorry, what? Where is this?
Post it. 37 minutes past. And let me just scrub through and find the bit that the Flurfs love. I think it's towards the end, I think.
Wouldn't it be like anyone that denies like moon landings would love it? Like, is it specifically Flurfs? Like, you know, there's some people that like think the Earth's a globe and just still deny the moon landing, right?
So go to 4 minutes 40.
That point seems to be forgotten as of late.
I don't think they I don't know. It seems very disingenuous the way Roohif attacked the argument with the genetic fallacy, and now he's throwing ad hominem attacks. I don't understand, Roohif. What happened? Why are you are you rude, Hif?
Geo, 4 minutes 40, where he goes to clasp his hands and then grabs the railing. Yeah.
Are you just presenting this to everyone, or you want me to like? I'd have to.
I can share it if you want.
Oh yeah, you want to throw it on your screen and then we could look at it, and then afterwards we could look at the one I posted.
Let me go. Whoops. Share.
These guys' body language is such a dead giveaway that they're just faking the funk. Every time I look at him, it's so clear to me. Really faking the funk up here.
So this is the bit that Flurfs go bananas over.
What's a fluff? What is that?
Second.
That's what you put on your sandwich with peanut butter sometimes.
Yeah, what's a fluff? You're calling it a fluff. What is that?
Flurf.
I'm trying to say it in your accent.
Oh, all right. Anyway, 4 minutes 40, grabs his hands like that. And everyone goes, oh, he's grabbing some fucking virtual reality object.
Grabbing the hat, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. This whole video, let's start at the start, and you watch how many times he clasps his hands together and grabs the railing.
Oh, not like the same way he did in that last part, though. Not at all. I mean, this is a weak argument, dude. This is another one of your arguments, bro. Yeah, that's way different than what he did at the end.
Oh, clasp his hands together. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, but dude, the other one, he's like literally trying to grab something from the other guy.
How it was explained to me, like really kind of like got me thinking was like it came from special effects people, like people that work on like say things like they do in the Matrix with harnesses and stuff. They said that like if you're in a gravity environment and you're like kind of upside down, basically your head is always going to be trying to turn like to the left or to tilt to the left or the right to maximize blood flow. And like I saw that a lot on the ISS ISS footages. Like their head is always trying to like really, you can't fake that. It's just body language. It's just you can't. From my understanding, you can't fake that. and
You're saying
it wouldn't be
gravity
present. It wouldn't
affects
be
blood
yeah.
flow?
No, like
That's what your claim
you're
is?
always like, say if you're in a 0G environment, you're being like, being like suspended. Your head is always going to be like trying to compensate for that, right? But in a 0G environment, you wouldn't be doing that at all. You can't fake
What's
that.
the argument for that? What's the argument for that? I don't even agree with that.
Okay.
You're in a 0G environment. The blood is going to be
in a
rushing to your
gravity
head
environment.
in a gravity. Yeah, we're in a gravity environment right now,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Are you moving your head a bunch?
Wow, you're not listening, are you?
I'm confused on your point, dude.
Yeah, so like if you're like anybody that was doing special effects with like, Matrix stuff or people on harnesses, gymnastics and stuff like that, if you're being suspended and flipping around, say that you're upside down in a gravity environment, like if this was fake, right? Your head is always trying to tilt to the left or the right to maximize blood flow. And I saw that a lot in the ISS footage. If you were in a 0G environment, you wouldn't be doing that at all.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. I'm
There
sorry.
you
I
go.
thought you
No,
were
it's
saying
okay.
it the other way.
It's kind of weird to wrap your head around, but like it really got me thinking.
Yeah, you're saying it doesn't make sense that if they're in 0G, why are they constantly trying to tilt their head up,
Yeah,
right?
especially when like if you look at the footage where they're like sideways or like flipping up around or not completely straight like this.
Like in the Artemis mission, the one black dude was having to do that. It seemed like.
I haven't seen any Artemis footage, so I'm not sure. But I was like referring mostly to the ISS stuff. I haven't actually seen any new Artemis shit.
Well, cool. I
Yeah,
think
the
Roohif's
head
about to.
tilting is a definite dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roohif, you want to pull up the video that I posted?
No, because you're not going to admit that you were fooled. So, no.
Fooled about what, dude?
The
We
green
can't make
screen.
we can't make a conclusion. We can't make conclusive claims on stuff we just see through a screen, dude. I'm not like a judge. This isn't a courtroom that we have to raise a verdict on that right now. The evidence was presented. The evidence will be looked over, and it's going to take some time for us to say for sure. But this just came out, dude, last night.
Look at him clasping his hands together constantly and then constantly grabbing the rail as well.
Yeah. So now let's
What does that mean,
test your honesty and pull up my video and see if it's a fake one or what it is.
No interest. No interest.
Oh.
It sounds like you're here in bad faith then.
Well, one of us is, yeah. I agree.
Well, yeah, because I'm saying there's more evidence we can look at, and you're saying no, it's conclusive. They're definitely in the capsule. They're going to the moon. They're going around the moon. This is all legit. I'm gonna burp in the mic because I'm rude. Roohif.
Nice.
The hairspray hair on like women's was like actually really stupid too.
I'm just wondering if this video that I posted is legit. Who is filming? Do they have like a guy in there with them that they didn't tell us about, or like maybe do they got a drone in there or something?
Just watching Rick Mastracchio constantly clasp his hands together and grab the rail.
Yeah, that's not really relevant to what he's doing. Like Torah was already responding to it, and you were upset he didn't respond to it, but he already did. Like the action the guy's moving. Will you go to the video where he's actually like trying to grab something? I mean, I'm not making any like dead set claims about this one. Like I find it interesting, but I'm not trying to say 100%. This one here, right
There
there.
it was, dude.
Yeah.
The guy did a totally different move. He
Right.
did.
That's a Street Fighter move right there. What did he just do? It's so weird. It's got such a there it is. Yeah. See, he literally goes out to grab something, puts it in one hand and then in the other, and then like this. Here, go back one more time. It's like he transfers it through his hands. Whatever it is, or whatever he thinks he has.
It's like the lead to his like harness or something like that. That's like green screened out.
Here we go, slow motion.
So he lets go.
Okay, he puts his wait here. Okay, here we go. Puts his hand out, and then he looks like he transfers it right between his hands.
Definitely.
It's so strange.
And he was already holding the wall in the
There's something
beginning,
weird about it.
Roohif. Dude, yeah, he was already holding the wall in the beginning, Roohif. That was not his normal hold the wall, fold my hands, then hold the wall, fold my hands again. That was like, up, he's about to pass me something on this,
Those pants themselves are ridiculously indicative of wearing like a fucking like lower body harness kind of rig thing
Cool.
underneath the pants.
Yeah, they're very robust.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
not
think
like
it's-
yeah.
I don't think you have to be a flat earther to see something wrong with that video. I think
Yeah.
you just have to be critical. Like, you just have to look at it.
It's something about like they're testing out like you know those contacts where like they're interacting with, what do they call that? Like not virtual reality, but like they're interacting with things like say like interacting with like CG things that are
Augmented
there you go. It has
reality.
something to do with augmented reality.
Excuse me.
I'm trying to figure out who's filming this stuff in the capsule right now, Roohif. What do you think, dude? What do we do with that?
Is there a point in discussing it with you?
Roohif, I don't think you're going to get conversions. Might as well just have the convo and have fun. I don't think you're going to convert. Is that what you're looking for?
You proselytizing today?
I know you're like you won't talk to him unless he's going to concede or convert to your viewpoint or whatever.
I lean globe, dude. I lean globe. Does that help you if I lean towards it? I lean directly off plumb towards globe, just straight up and down. There's another plumb that's parallel to the one 10 feet away from me, but I lean,
I try not to engage with people that I don't think are honest or engaging honestly. Hey, kitty.
Wait. Do you think that it's engaging honestly to use a genetic fallacy?
It's not a genetic fallacy.
You used a genetic fallacy. You discredited the evidence by saying the source is like, something you can't trust. That's a genetic fallacy.
I
Textbook.
appealed to a
Yeah.
live stream.
Yeah, I know, but in order to destroy the other evidence, you had to use a genetic fallacy.
What
Right,
evidence?
and then you appealed to CNN, which then I use the genetic fallacy
I
against.
didn't appeal to CNN.
Oh no, you didn't say it. CNN's live stream.
CNN had a live stream on YouTube. I'm not appealing to the credibility of CNN.
No doubt. And on CNN's live stream, you watch the emergency egress system be deployed, right?
Yeah, that's a
I
bit
didn't
of a
watch that,
sketchy
no.
one.
Can't pick and choose, you know what I mean? You got to accept all of the live
So you're
streams.
saying like the Artemis launch, like and like the launching of, you saw like that one video where like they launched the emergency egress thing was real?
Every time that they launch at Kennedy Space Center, they have to launch the emergency egress system at T-Man. Yeah, because they move it out of the way of the debris from the rocket. So every single time the rocket goes off, there's always a possibility that people could be in the emergency egress system up until T-1 second.
Yeah, but you'd be able to see people in there if you had proper footage of it because it's like transparent. It's open, right?
Well, I'm not saying yeah, for sure that is a possibility. They also could put a false floor in it, put people underneath it. That's also a possibility.
Floor. The thing's just like a basket, though.
It's not like a completely see-through basket, though. I posted a video. I posted a video of it for you. 33 after. It's the basket's right there. You can see it's not completely see-through. And each cart can hold about like 5 people. And there's, I think, 4 or 5 carts that come down. I'm just stating that no one could claim with 100% certainty that there are people in that capsule because of the possibility of this emergency egress system pulling people out. It's a probability argument.
I haven't seen. Is there even footage of them getting in it to where they would have to escape, or did they just not even film that anymore to where they wouldn't even have to, or
They
did they
filmed
show
them strapping in, yeah.
So they would have to actually, get out of it basically if they're not actually going in it.
They're able, they say up until T-1 second, the astronauts are able to, it's so close to where they loaded that they're able to get unstrap and get out.
That would take a lot of effort.
What if they just filmed it all on a different day?
Yeah.
That would seem one way to solve that. I haven't seen this egress thing. Is this that like that thing that's on like a wire?
The cable car, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what that was. I saw a little short clip of it.
That's the only time I've seen that thing like released at a launch. I never saw that any other time.
They've been using it for a while. I think like since the 80s,
Yeah,
maybe
wow.
even earlier. Yeah. And they just have to get it out. They have to launch it every time because if they didn't, think about what those carts
Yeah.
would be filled with. You know what I mean? If the rocket engine was just propelling all that, gunk into it, they'd probably even like burn. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting observation that leads us to be able to doubt, which is unfortunate. We can't have 100% certainty that there's actually astronauts in that capsule. No one can. Like the internet's such a shady place these days. There was like 3 or 4 days, not that long ago, everyone was like Netanyahu's dead, and he's not. So, and I think
Was it-
CNN even reported that he was dead.
Are we getting Mandela affected live in real time?
I don't know what's going on. I just, how do I find out if this video is legit, Roohif? I need to know, man. Who's holding this camera?
What's the source? Show me the source rather than link to some. I don't know. Fucking what's the link? Yeah, you've got a Discord link. What's the source?
Discord, I guess.
Okay.
I swear I got it. I got it off Discord, man.
Right. So it's possible that some random's done an AI thing. Is that possible?
Yeah, and it's also possible nobody did anything and it's just legit, right?
Right. What's the source?
Okay, yeah. So those two possibilities exist. So which one is it?
I can't answer that without knowing what the source is. You're claiming
The source is Discord, dude. What are you talking about?
Your implicit claim is that it's from NASA and it's real. Show me the source.
Wait, it seems like it's from this like fifth astronaut that we have no idea who he is.
What?
Is the source because his videoing.
Show me the source of the video. Where did the video come from?
I got it off Discord, dude. What do you mean?
Right. So it's possible you don't know whether it's legit from NASA or some dude's fucking with you again.
Yeah, or it's possible it's legit and nobody, dude, what kind of argument is this? Is this a real argument?
Yeah, is it real footage? Is this something that NASA has put forward as real?
Has NASA put it forward as real?
Yeah,
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 that's why it's there, dude. What do you mean?
It's on Discord. Is that where NASA releases its official fucking videos? Is that it?
Let's see. I'll find their videos for you.
Man. BRB. I'm going to go get a Pepsi Max.
Oh, yeah, it is on NASA's website, dude. Sweet. Let's see if I can get this one going for you.
I mean, come on, bro. We all know only NASA makes real videos, bro. Like, NASA they are the arbiters of truth, so just
They're the realest.
Me?
They're
Yeah.
the realest, most sciencey. Are they the most sciencey as well? Scientifically inclined. The most
Yes.
realist of
That
all.
to me, only NASA puts out the truth.
Yes, correct. Yes.
That's a fucking stupid take.
That's your belief, right?
No, I'm saying if you want me to assess it to say whether I think it's real or not, if it doesn't come from NASA, then it's not
It's
relevant.
not real. There you go. If it comes from NASA, it's real. If it doesn't, it's not real.
From space, it's fake.
What did I just say, Jamesy?
You said
That-
I posted the things, dude, for you. The pictures are there.
There you go. It's
Pictures
real.
are there. Where is the
Yeah.
video? What is the
It's
source
real,
of
then.
the video?
It came from NASA. It's real.
No, what did I say, Jamesy? Are you...
I'm saying NASA is the arbiter of truths, and if it comes from NASA, it's real. That's it. That's all. That's all it is.
That's
I'm
it.
not saying that. Are you
It's
able
not
to
too
repeat
complicated.
my claim? Are you able to repeat my claim?
No. I'm saying NASA is the arbiter of truths, and that's it.
All right.
Even like their name in Yiddish means tell the truth all the time.
Okay.
Roohif, what was your point? Your point was that it needed to be from NASA for you to consider it or something?
If it's not from NASA, then it's not relevant whether it's real footage or not.
Why? Because NASA only puts out the real stuff, or what's the
No. Holy shit.
Well, it kind of sounds like you're saying that a little bit now.
No.
What are you saying, Roohif?
Yeah,
Go
what
on,
are
dude.
you saying?
Let's assume that it's fake footage. Right? Let's assume that it's fake. Or
No,
there's
if
a
it's from
fifth
NASA.
dude in there or whatever. Let's assume there's a fifth dude there that's, I don't know, whatever, right? If it's not from NASA, that's
Then
irrelevant.
it's fake.
Okay, I hear you on that.
Excellent.
On that
Okay.
particular. If that cut is not official NASA, footage, then it's not relevant for evaluating whether it needs to be evaluated for
NASA lied.
fakery or not.
Okay, so if one of the astronauts on, aboard NASA has their own private Instagram page and they're aboard that capsule and they post a video, then we can't say that video is legit because it doesn't come from NASA. Rather, it comes from the private astronaut. Is that correct, Roohif?
No, that would
Okay,
carry some
well, then
weight.
your argument falls apart. I just found the loophole.
Where's the source then?
Yeah, but your argument just fell apart, dude. What is your
Do you
argument
have the
now?
source?
No,
Do you have the
now you're
source
saying,
as
so
well?
if I presented this with the source as being from one of those astronauts, then you would consider it?
Yeah.
Well, you just changed the point. You just moved your goalpost.
Do you have the source, yes or no?
I do. I gave it to you as Discord.
Discord. Okay, so I don't need to examine it at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you want to just confirm your bias that people are going to the moon, when people present you evidence that seems like, oh, this might be something, you could just say, nuh-uh, hand wave away and not do any research into it. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Do you call that hate?
Can it just be thrown in like Gemini and try to see if it recognizes where it came from, and see if
Like
it
a
is from that?
reverse image? Yeah.
I'm not particularly. I don't put a huge amount of weight in those things.
Yeah, but they can do at least a reverse video search. I mean, that would be
Yeah,
very
front
bizarre
door.
if that was from NASA, because it shows basically a fifth person. I mean, the camera does like a whole twist as it moves away, like a very specific twist, and then the lighting changes right at the end to make the globe just pop out the window.
Yeah, there's also audio on that video.
Is there? I mean, dude, that's what I would expect though. If it were real, I would expect shots like from them inside the capsule, moving their camera very legitimately over to the window, looking at the globe, looking at the stars, looking at the moon. I mean, if it were real, I would expect footage like that, but we don't get any. Is there any looking out the window yet of this thing, or we get no windows on this whole thing so
I don't
far?
know. Have you listened to the clip?
No.
Okay, I advise you to listen to the clip.
What does it say?
They're going, hey, hi, and waving at the camera.
Yeah, what happens at the end?
It says the globalists are not going to get away with this. Remember when Merle used to say that? He used to be like, "You guys are not going to get away with this." That's so funny. You're not going to get away with this, Roohif.
I love Merle.
At the end, it sounds.
We're going to
At
get to
the
the
end,
bottom of this.
it sounds like it goes into water. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yes. It does
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
like it goes in water.
Yeah, it does. Definitely. That's what you would expect, right? In space.
No, that's not what I would expect in space.
Oh, what'd you expect?
For it to not go into water.
Yeah, tell us about your expectations about a place you have no idea about. Go ahead.
Pretty sure there's no water in space.
Okay, so then you think, therefore, that camera definitely went into water because it kind of sounds like it did?
Does it sound like it's in water at the end?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, bro.
But dude, that's like, your argument right now is because
me
it
to
sounds like
engage in
the
good
earth is
faith.
flat, therefore it is flat. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, like, because it seems like it, therefore it is.
Right, but you want me to engage in good faith, right? And I'm not getting that from you.
But you're not capable of doing something like that, Roohif. So.
Yeah, do I have to turn you down, Jamesy?
What do you mean good faith, dude? Define that for me real quick.
Does it sound like it's going into water at the end of the clip?
No, I need you to define good faith because I think you're using the term wrong. Are you using it in the terms of a debate? Good faith?
Yeah, just making honest assessments of evidence, honest arguments.
Yeah, that's not what good faith means. That's just presupposed in like a debate. We would obviously do that. Good faith means you want to come to a conclusion on the topic.
I don't think that's what it means. Right. Anyway, does it sound like it's in water at the end?
Okay, so if I provide a citation that in debate good faith means you're looking to come to a conclusion, you'll concede to that?
I don't care. Does it sound like it's going into water?
Dude, you're not in good faith. You just showed it.
Obviously.
Are you willing to consider my perspective?
Sure.
Okay, so this video, what it seems to be, so far I don't have the source on it, but it seems like there's an extra astronaut in this video. Would you agree with that?
I haven't looked at it properly.
Who's holding the camera?
I don't know. No one.
Okay, like it's a drone, maybe?
I don't know.
Okay, no problem. We don't know. This video might just be fake for all we know, which is a possibility. But it's
It
also a
is.
No, actually,
possibility
it
that
could be
it's
a
very real.
drone. It actually could be a drone, I guess. Did they bring a drone in there? They got a drone inside that little thing. I mean, I guess it could be a little drone.
Yeah, filming them, right? Maybe something like that. That's what I was thinking. Could be. I don't know how well they work in, 0G, but
It's got nothing to do with 0G.
this video is in G. There's G's here.
No, drones working or not working has nothing to do with 0G.
Okay, so drones work in 0G.
Yes, they push air.
Okay, I see what you're saying. There's air in there, so it's good to go. Well, I actually heard that that I know this is kind of a separate topic, but there's a big debate in what keeps airplanes flying. You know, some people say it's Bernoulli, some say it's Newton stuff.
Cool. So I think the conclusion is that you've been fooled by some shithouse AI twice today.
Yeah, sure. That's the conclusion in Roohif's mind, for sure. I mean, Roohif, do you think that there's such thing as proof?
No.
Yeah, so so then how did you prove to yourself that today I have been duped?
Right, because I've satisfied my own subjective level of
If-
Wait, you
confidence.
just said proof doesn't exist, and then I asked you for the proof, and then you started to present me with something. Do you forget that you said proof doesn't exist?
He has a twin brother named Proohif.
Oh, nice. Nice.
If proof doesn't exist, Roohif, do you know that everything you state is arbitrary, right?
Not arbitrary.
Yeah, it is. There's no indispensable, primary prescription of possibility and impossibility. So therefore, you're just claiming to be that thing. Therefore, that's arbitrary.
You know what borderline personality is?
That's called an ad hominem attack. That's not addressing the argument, sir.
One of the classic symptoms
You have a
of
rebuttal?
borderline personality is treating everything in the world as black and white. He either loves me or he hates me. This is either 100% true or completely false. That's where you're at.
No, sir. I'm sorry. When we're talking about the indispensable primary prescription of possibility and impossibility, we're talking about a thing that makes absolute truths. So for you to say absolute truth doesn't exist, you have to engage in fallacious behavior because you self-refute. You're saying it's absolutely true that absolute truth doesn't exist. So when it comes to what is right and wrong, it is black and white. I'm sorry, sir. Do you agree that we all should use the law of identity?
Absolute truth exists. Whether we can get there is a whole another topic.
Yeah, well, you just got there. You just stated an absolute truth claim.
What was that?
Absolute truth exists.
Yeah, there
That's
is
a claim.
reality.
That's a claim. You made an absolute truth claim.
100%.
So, yeah, okay. So when you say I have borderline personality disorder because I look at things in black and white, it's not the case that people that look at things black and white have borderline personality disorder. First of all, that is not like a exclusivity to that. But I
Can't
do
even
think.
repeat what I said. Did I say you have borderline personality disorder?
No, what you did was it was an entailment of what you're saying. You're saying I'm looking at these things like it's black and white, like there is 100% truth or there is, 99% confident level. Whatever, dude. If you claim a confidence level in something, say you're like, I'm 60% sure of this, that means you're 100% sure you're 60% sure. So, dude, you can't get out of it, and that's why you said there is absolute truth. You're 100% certain there's absolute truth in the world. You're saying I'm not sure it's obtainable, except you just put an absolute truth claim on the board. You said there is absolute truth.
You don't understand the difference between claiming 100% confidence and proof. They're different things.
Yeah, proof requires the indispensable primary prescription of possibility and impossibility to be the foundation of that truth. Yeah.
Proof is impossible, except in mathematics and alcohol.
Yeah, that's your claim. Okay. So now you have to present evidence for your claim. And everything you're going to present is going to be claimed to be proof.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's going to be claimed to be evidence? When does evidence turn into proof?
It doesn't.
Okay, so then you can't prove your claim.
Right. I've never claimed to have proof.
Your claim is there is no proof.
I've never claimed to have deductive proof of anything about reality.
Nothing?
I don't think it's possible.
So then you would agree it is the case that people shouldn't just accept things for what they are. They should research into them, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I literally just said there is a difference between having 100% confidence in something and being able to prove it deductively. They are two different things.
Yeah, but do you agree with the method of reductio ad absurdum as a deductive proof?
Yeah. Yeah, to
Okay.
disprove it.
So therefore we know the law of identity is proven to be 100% the case by reductio ad absurdum. So we know 3 at least: law of identity, law of non-contradiction, law of excluded middle. We also know that uniformity of nature is a thing. Like, what are you talking about that we don't know these things? We have proof of all those by reductio ad absurdum. Deductive proof.
I'd say they were all axioms, though.
Yeah, that's where you get them from. So therefore absolute truth exists and we can obtain it, like the law of identity.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so then we can prove things, right? Like the law of identity, we could prove that the law of identity is a real thing by the deductive method called reductio ad absurdum.
No, the whole framework of logic is axiomatic, and without it, we just can't make sense of anything.
The way it became axiomatic, dude, is because we've proved it via reductio ad absurdum. So
Did you
therefore
just
there
say the
is
way we
proof.
prove an axiom?
Yes. Yeah. In order to know the law of identity exists, is we take the contrary, that it doesn't exist, and we prove that to be impossible. Okay? And that's called reductio ad absurdum. This is what Aristotle came to the conclusion of. You can prove things by showing the contrary to be impossible.
All right. You just said you can prove an axiom, so I think that's conversation over. And we're way off fucking track.
Dude, you said we can't prove an axiom? Then how is it an axiom? What do you call it?
Hey Siri, what's the definition of an axiom?
A statement or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true.
Established. Do you know how do you establish something?
Hang on. Let's ask
with the justification. You know what justification we use to establish the law of identity?
Is it possible to prove an axiom?
Not through induction. That's the thing. Through deduction.
Through deduction.
So when it said it's self-evident, right? Evident. How is it self-evident?
And you prove an axiom.
Through deduction. Through deduction. So, dude, you're out of your element, Roohif. But yeah, I did post some stuff I wanted to get into when you guys are done.
Cool. Do we have a link for either of those videos, Torah?
I think that was for you, Lion.
No,
I got some videos I want to go over in the chat, dude. I posted them. I've been waiting for you guys to finish, but trying to get in a good time.
So Torah
I thought that was a good time.
Yeah, no, it's good. Torah does not have a link to this random video he found on Discord, and does not have a link to the green screen, which is contradicted by the live stream on YouTube. There you go. All right. I'll go and feed some doggies. Good night. See you.
Roohif's undefeated, dude. See that?
Yeah, you can't prove an axiom with induction. That's the thing. He doesn't understand the difference. But yo,
if someone believes there is if someone believes there is no proof and then says he proved me wrong, isn't that kind of weird?
Well, he was making absolute claims while claiming you can't make absolute claims. So his argument is self-refuting. I don't know why you didn't call him out on that first. Because he's saying, absolute truth isn't possible. Well, is that an absolute statement?
No, he said it could be. He said absolute truth does exist, yeah.
Yeah, after. It was like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. But what do you got? What are these videos?
So this happened in the last 48 hours. Yeah, yesterday. You remember that Comet 3i Atlas? They call it maps. Dude, it ended up smashing into the sun. And we have it on video. And not only did it smash into the sun, it came out the other side. Though it came out the other side in pieces, fragmented, it still penetrated the sun and exited the sun. Now, when you
How
look
do
at
you
this video,
how do you know it didn't go through the backs like out like but just behind it?
that's a good question, dude. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
Okay, I'm interested though. It came out in pieces. I see what you're saying there.
I mean, the thing is, bro, if you look at the comet and then you look at the sun, like they're telling us the sun's 1.3 million times bigger than the Earth. I forget how big it is in diameter compared to the Earth, but regardless, look at the comet and look at the sun. You're telling me that sun is as big as they're telling us it is? Dude, that comet's only like 2 kilometers, and they're trying to say it was smaller than that. So you're talking about 2 kilometer comet smashed into a sun that's a million times bigger than the Earth.
I think gravity did it.
What do you guys think?
Gravity knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
I got the GIF up top, but you see it though? High resolution if you open it up, if you open the video up. I mean, I'll share my screen if you want. I don't know if you guys see what I'm seeing, dude. You can see it coming in on the bottom left.